room. A.
Good morning. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
You have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We're going to start with bills not in the Public Safety Subcommittee, first. So let's begin with identical bills, and I'll ask staff to summarize those bills for us, please.
Madam Chair, the first bill, House Bill 71, relates to combined sewer overflow outfalls. It extends from July 1, 2025 to July 1, 2026, the date by which certain CSO outfalls and discharges into the Chesapeake Bay watershed must be in compliance. It's identical to Senate Bill 372, Senator Evans' bill, which passed the Senate 38 yes, 0 no.
Move to report.
Second. Wow, they're quick this morning. You've heard the motion and the second that the bill be reported. All in favor? Let your thoughts be known electronically. We're thinking.
Ayes 12, noes 0, 1 abstention.
Ayes 12, noes 1, 0, and 1 extension. Am I correct?
Yes. All right, Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 892, also Senator Boliva's bill. This one relates to the transferring of the Office of Farmland Preservation to the Department of Forestry. It's a net zero transfer. It's identical to Senate Bill 616, Senator Pillion's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no.
So moved to report.
Second.
It's been moved and second that the bill be reported. All in favor, please vote electronically. Please open the roll.
Ayes 13, noes 0.
Ayes 13, no 0. The bill is reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 279, Delegate Helmer's bill. This deals with military leaves of absences for employees, which includes professional firefighters. It provides that any person who's employed by the Commonwealth or a political subdivision as a professional firefighter is allowed to receive paid leaves of absences for up to 388 work hours. It's identical to Senate Bill 401, Senator Durant's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Please record your yeas and nays electronically.
Ayes 13, noes 0.
Ayes 13, no 0. The bill will be reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 199, Delegate Krizek's bill. This relates to the Virginia Brownfield Coal Mine Renewable Energy Grant Fund and Program and the allocation of funds. It removes the prohibition that only federal funds be available in the amount to cover the entire cost of the allocation. It's identical to Senate Bill 25, Senator Hackworth's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no.
Move to report.
There's a motion and a second that House Bill 199 be reported. Please designate your preference electronically.
Ayes 13, noes 0.
Ayes 13, no 0. The bill is reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 1454, it's Delegate Lopez's bill. It has to do with extending the validity of limited duration licenses and driver privilege cards and permits and identification privilege cards other than real ID credentials to a period of time consistent with the validity of a driver's license. It's identical to Senate Bill 246, Senator McPike's bill, which passed the Senate 21 yes, 19 no.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 3.
Ayes 10, noes 3. The bill is reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 1224, Delegate Runyon's bill. This has to do with reducing the fees on the issuances of identification cards from $10 to $20, et cetera. It's identical to Senate Bill 151, Senator Suderland's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no.
Move to report.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Please open the roll.
Ayes 13, noes 0.
Ayes 13, no 0. The bill is reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 1112, and this is Delegate Wyatt's bill. It clarifies the databases that DMV must search when notifying an auto recycler if the motor vehicle is going to be demolished. It's identical to Senate Bill 545, Senator Bagby's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no.
Move to report.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Please open the roll.
Ayes 13, no zero.
Ayes 13, no zero, the bill is reported.
Madam Chair, that completes the identical bills. Do you want me to go through the similar House
If you,
bills?
if you will, please.
The next bill is House Bill 596. This is Delegate Askew's bill. It relates to the Fisheries Innovation for Sustainable Harvest Fund for the purpose of supporting and promoting economic growth and development of Virginia's seafood economy. A similar bill, Senate Bill 464, Senator Stewart's bill, passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no. The difference is about the easements. Senator Stewart's bill did not tie the easements back to the new fund related to that, and then the way the current code reads, those easements would go to the Virginia Coastal Energy Research
Madam Chair, I
Consortium.
move an amendment. I move a substitute that conforms this to Senate Bill 464.
There's a motion and a second that we amend the bill. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Noes have the same right?
Now move to report as substitute.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported with a substitute. All in favor, please designate electronically.
Ayes 12, no zero.
Ayes 12, no zero, the bill will be reported with a substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 233, this is Delegate Campbell's bill. It requires 100 acres of continuous acre sites for that is known as brownfield to satisfy the acreage requirement to be considered for the Virginia Business Ready Sites Program and Fund. It's similar to Senate Bill 135, Senator Head's bill, which passed the Senate 38 yes, 0 no. The House bill requires VDP to develop guidelines to address the acreage less than 100 acres. Both House and Senate budgets included some funding, though the Senate budget included $50 million, the House budget included $20.
Madam Chair, I move we adopt a substitute to conform this to Senate Bill 135.
You've heard the motion to conform the bill. All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Noes have the same right?
Now move to report.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported as conformed with the substitute. Please open the roll, ma'am.
Ayes 14, no zero.
Ayes 14, no zero, the bill reports with a substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 1125, Delegate Carr's bill. This relates to the Virginia's Business Ready Expedited Permitting Program. It is similar to Senate Bill 217, Senator Locke's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no. There's a difference between the number of sites and projects. The House budget does include some funding of $150,000.
Madam Chair, I move that we conform House Bill 1125 to Senate Bill 217.
Second.
You've heard the motion to conform and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Nays have the same right? Thank you.
I now move that we report the substitute.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that the substitute be reported. All in favor, please vote electronically.
Ayes 14, no zero.
Ayes 14, no zero, the bill will report with a substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 1457, also Delegate Carr. This one, it has to do with the Virginia Investment Performance Grants, and the definitions related to that is similar to Senate Bill 496, Senator Carol Foy's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no.
Madam Chair, I move that we conform House Bill 1457 to Senate Bill 496.
Second.
You've heard the motion to conform. All in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Madam Chair, there are also some additional technical fixes that also need to be
Okay, then
adopted
I
as
need a
well.
motion to accept.
The technical
Is there another
amendments,
motion?
Are they in the substitute, Madam Chair?
Madam Chair, the substitute would conform to SB 496, but include some technical changes for the prevailing average wage requirements for job creation projects.
I'd like to have a motion on that. So moved. There's a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Noes have the same right?
Move to report as amended.
There's a motion
Second.
and a second that the bill be reported as amended. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 14, no 0.
Ayes 14, no 0. The bill will be reported with a substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill, House Bill 1458. This is Delegate Hernandez bill. This relates to the Chief Resilience Officer of the Commonwealth and moving the position under the governor. A similar bill was Senate Bill 733, Senator Marsden's bill, which was continued to the 2025 session in committee. 13 yes, 2 no.
Madam Chair.
Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm quite good with the changes that he made to the bill, and I think it makes it a much better bill and deals with some of the issues we had with my bill. So I would move to report the bill.
Madam Chair, if I could speak to the changes that we made
Yes,
in the
Delegate
ACR Senate
Hernandez.
Committee. So there are two overarching changes relative to the original bill from Senator Marsden and the bill that I originally filed in the House. So first of all, this version keeps the Chief Resilience Officer under the Secretary of Natural and Historic Resources, where it is currently, instead of putting it under the governor's office. Second, this bill removes all references to a new Office of Commonwealth Resilience. So in other words, everything that's contemplated in this bill can be done with existing FTEs to zero out the fiscal impact. But it still contains the good parts around transparency, oversight, in terms of how dollars are being used for resiliency, and bolsters coordination efforts.
Madam Chair, I've got a substitute motion. I don't think we can treat this bill differently than we did Senator Morrison's bill. I'd move to carry the bill over.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be carried over. Is that going to require electronic vote? That will require an electronic vote.
Ayes 4, noes 10.
Ayes 4, noes 10. That motion fails. So we go back to the original motion.
Yes, ma'am. Let's go back to the original motion to report.
The original motion is that House Bill 1458 be reported.
Has there been a second?
Second.
And there's a second. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Thank you to
The bill is reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 906, Delegate Shin's bill. This relates to prohibition of a utility company subject to regulation by SEC or owned by or operated by a local government from disconnecting services to any residential customer for non-payment of bills or fees when the forecasted temperature is either below 32 degrees or above 92 within the 24 hours of the scheduled disconnection. It's similar to Senate Bill 480, Senator Aird's bill, which passed the Senate 40 yes, 0 no.
Madam Chair, I move we adopt a substitute as it conforms the bill to Senator Aird's bill.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be conformed to Senate Bill 480. All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Noes have the same right.
Now move to report.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported as conformed to Senate Bill 480. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 12, noes 3.
Ayes 12, noes 3. The bill is reported.
Madam Chair, that completes the identical or similar bills. I believe there's a sign up for the other bills that are above.
Yes, and I have a sign up here in queue, so is this the one I'm following or the one that you have? Okay, then Delegate Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the committee. I have before you today HB 333.
Please call your attention to House Bill 333. Delegate Jones.
Madam Chair, there is an amendment. The amendment clarifies the staggering of terms after August 31 of 2024. HB 33 would require the vacancies on the council on environmental justice being filled by August 31 of this year. The bill clarifies language that the council may travel throughout the Commonwealth to record conditions relating to human health and the environment. The fiscal impact of this bill indicates travel costs would be about $10,000 per year. HB 333 passed Senate General Laws and Technology 96.
Any questions by members of the committee? Motion?
Move to report.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. All in favor, please open the roll, Madam Clerk.
Ayes 9, noes 5.
Ayes 9, noes 5, the bill is reported.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the
Thank you. Next in queue is Delegate Corner.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
I have before you House Bill 1075. It sets up the framework for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which we've supported in the past, for us to partner with a dedicated 501c3 to implement and sustain the program so we can put more books in the hands of our children from birth through starting kindergarten. I'd be happy to answer any questions the committee has.
Any questions of the patron? Motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded about 10 times that the bill be reported. All in favor, please vote electronically.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're very welcome.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is reported. Next in queue is Delegate Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is HB 1084, which has to do with disabled parking placards. Currently, temporary disabled parking placards can be issued for a maximum of 6 months, even if the cause for the temporary disability is expected to exceed 6 months. Applicants are required to reapply and also pay a $5 fee. My bill doubles the maximum time a placard can be issued to 12 months, so long as certification from a healthcare provider affirms that the applicant's temporary qualifying condition will continue for the designated length of time. The bill passed the House 99-0, and I hope it will be the pleasure
Any
of the
questions of the
committee.
patron?
Second.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is reported.
Thank you, Madam Chairman,
You're
members
very
of the
welcome.
committee.
Next in queue, Delegate Bowling.
Good morning, Madam Chair and esteemed members of the committee. You should have before you House Bill 937. The goal of the bill is to allow localities to reallocate existing transportation funding into supporting walking or biking school buses and other innovative low-cost or no-cost alternatives if they so choose. No new funding is needed for the bill. It's simply allowing them to use the existing funding to do such. And I can go into more detail if we need to, but.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is reported. Have a good day. Next in queue is Delegate Wyatt.
We already dealt with his.
I think we've already done that one. Delegate McClure.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the committee, I believe I have 3 bills before you, and the first one is HB 1287.
1287. Okay, please call your attention to HB 1287.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, members of the committee, HB 1287 is a technical fix to bring authority back to the Planning District 8, which encompasses localities in Northern Virginia. Across Virginia, localities currently have authority to permit towers who tow and store in their locality, except in Planning District 8. So the goal of this bill is to clear up confusion and ensure every locality in the state can permit towers in the same way so that all towers are following the same rules. This bill does not alter the permitting abilities of other localities outside of Planning District 8, and this bill also does not have a fiscal impact. Madam Chair, members of the committee, it is my hope that you will vote favorably in support of HB 1287.
Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero, the bill reports. Your other two bills are in the public safety report.
That is correct. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee.
Next in queue, Delegate Runyon.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. House Bill 1280, no, not 1287. Which bill is it? Thank you. 675, the reestablishment of the police department for the Virginia School for the Deaf and Blind. This is an interesting exercise. The authorization in the language was included up to 2006. Somewhere between then and 2016, we figured out it was excluded. It was excluded. We figured that out in 2023. Senator Bell, who was chairman of the trustee, figured that out. We put in an interim thing to allow for security at the facility. Virginia School for Deaf and Blind has 65 or so residents. This is a dormitory environment for folks that are deaf and blind, visually impaired, or all the above. And so if there's someone that's vulnerable in the Commonwealth and needs protection, police department protection, these are those folks. And so I've worked very closely with the staff up there, Director Trice, the existing security director who was previously the police department, and we have gotten to this point with it. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of the patron? Motion?
Madam Chair, I've got a substitute motion that we carry the bill over. My concern is that this bill has a fiscal impact of $42,000 one time for VRS and has a $56,000 annual cost, and that money's not in the House budget.
It is in the House budget, sir. So, according to Chairman Torian, he and I discussed that back when this bill moved forward.
The information we
My
have is
fiscal impact said, let me get to that.
I'd like for staff to respond because we've combed through it. We didn't see it.
Madam Chair, I'll get Tyler to look at that now. I think the other question that when we discussed it with you that came up is whether or not this was necessary or they already had the authority to do that. And maybe I'd ask Stephen to clarify and look at the code at that for us.
Delegate Runyon, we'll pass this one by temporarily. Do your other bill
Yes,
while we
ma'am.
do this.
I'm sorry.
You have another bill.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
do your other bill while we pass this by
Thank you.
temporarily.
My next bill is House Bill 1254, Structures, Bridges and Structures State of Good Repair. This bill identifies bridges to be repaired before any major components reach level 4 to become structurally deficient, enables the Commonwealth to quickly and efficiently effect repairs with a goal of increasing useful life by 10 years or more. The goal of the bill is to have stuff repaired quicker, and so we get a better bang for our buck. In talking to my local bridge engineer, he said, do not be surprised if you can't extend the life of these bridges by up to 50 years. So because we're doing it sooner, we're spending money less, we're getting more bridges addressed through the Commonwealth. And according to my report, there is no fiscal impact, Madam Chair.
Delegate Runyon, Senator McPike has a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this code section was obviously as a result of JLARC study. I put in this similar bill 2 years ago, and the administration was new and came to me and asked me to strike the bill, so they gave him a year to review the section. I did that to honor the administration out of courtesy with the letter that they would work. And we worked on language last year, and I put in a bill last year on the same subject. And then the governor had no comments through the committee process, passed both chambers, and then the governor sent down an amendment, and we rejected that amendment, and then he vetoed the bill. Has the governor and the team and the administration provided any assurance to you that they are not going to mess with the funding formula section of this bill?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator McPike. Yes, I've had extensive conversations with the budget or with the administration, and they are comfortable with this bill now. And I took some effort to get there.
Madam Chair, follow-up question. Is the administration going to provide any amendments to this bill?
Madam Chair.
Delegate Runyon.
Not that I am aware of any amendments. And I will also say that I spoke with JLARC, and they are comfortable with the bill as it is presented relative to the study that was issued a couple of years ago, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, I believe we have someone from the administration
Senator
to speak to the question.
Senator McPike.
Thank you. I believe there's someone from the administration that might be able to provide some clarity.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Rachel Jones, Deputy Secretary of Transportation. We want to thank the patron for his work on this bill. Also want to thank Senator McPike for his work on this important issue. We view this as something very important. I like to sort of colloquially say it's a brush your teeth and don't just wait to go to the dentist when you need a root canal. This is something we strongly support. We think that there's additional work per JLARC that can be done in this area, but this bill will really make a big difference in making sure that taxpayer money will make the biggest difference moving forward. So we strongly support and do not plan to offer amendments. Thank you.
Any questions of the Speaker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move to report.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. You've heard that motion. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. That bill reports. Delegate Runyon, we're going to we're going to have to take this bill by for the day while we do a little bit more.
Thank you.
So if can I get a motion without?
So moved. Second.
Okay.
And Madam Chair.
Without objection, bill that will go by for the day.
Madam Chair, when the time's appropriate, I do have a motion
Senator McPike.
From a prior bill considered yesterday for Delegate McQuinn.
Okay.
Whenever you want to fit that in, Madam Chair.
Go right ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. So yesterday we had carried over House Bill 285, and I'd moved to reconsider the vote which we carried over House Bill 285.
There's a motion for reconsideration of the vote.
Second.
And a second. I think we need to do electronically. Yes. Yes. Please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no zero.
Ayes 15, no zero. The bill is reconsidered.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Senator McPike.
And so I move the substitute, looking to council if it's an amendment or a substitute. Okay. I'd move a substitute be adopted, Madam Chair, and speaking to that.
Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So a couple things that were of concern yesterday were the liability in regards to having school buses on state property, and cross-referencing the Virginia Administrative Code. It requires.
Madam Chairman, can we at least see what the bill is? Because none of us can even look at it to know what we're talking about.
Could I ask counsel to
bus stops?
And Delegate McQuinn, if you'd like to come to the microphone.
Good morning. And
we'd like to hear from you,
Madam
please.
Chair and members of the committee.
So, Madam Chair, I'll be happy to explain the substitute and the bill.
We don't have the bill to show on the screen. Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So as a part of yesterday's, it was heard in general government sub, and part of the concern was essentially exempting bus stops up to 250 square feet from any permitting on state property. The substitute now before the committee does a couple different things. It does still require a permit, but it does so at the local building official level, and requires still the 60-day sort of quicker process to go through it. The concern in the general government sub was because it did not have a permit, sovereign immunity, insurance liability sort of went away, and that lined up and was consistent with Virginia Administrative Code because it's in that it says permit, and the permit transfer also requires liability insurance. So by fixing this in the substitute, we are still tying these together. So if the locality or the authority building the bus stop, they'd still cover the state, and the state's not taking on the liability now in this substitute. And so I think that's in a posture for the delegate to move this forward and taking care of the committee's concerns.
Thank you, Senator McPike. Members of the committee,
Madam Chairman,
Senator McDougal.
can we see the substitute?
Madam Chair, Senator McDougal, the substitute would take the bill back to its introduced version with the exception that instead of saying shall be reviewed by the local building official, those plans and specifications for these bus shelters shall be permitted by the local building official of the locality in which the state-owned property is located.
Madam Chairman,
Senator McDougal.
I'm having a little hard time catching up without having the bill in front of us, having it up on the board and being able to see the substitute. It could be perfect, but I do think it would be better if we could actually see it.
Well, I agree with you, and if we want to just have this go by temporarily, I have a note here that. We could do tomorrow. Can we do that tomorrow without putting the bill in jeopardy? Yeah. We'll carry it over for the day.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members.
But I just want to complete my statement, though. VITA has collaborated with DRPT to address any concerns, and there's peace in the valley.
Yes, yes.
But we will still see you tomorrow.
Madam Chair.
So do you desire to
Senator
have...
Serval.
Thank you. So DRPT sent me information as well, and my questions were not answered. And the way I read the regulations, it wasn't clear to me that the Commonwealth was completely absolved of liability once the station was constructed. It appeared to me there was insurance while it was being constructed, but not after it was constructed. And the concern by staff and committee was that these bus stops would get built, and then the Commonwealth would be stuck if somebody gets hurt at them one later. And it wasn't clear to me that's been resolved yet. And so that's a question I'll have for staff before tomorrow. I've been going back and forth with somebody you've been working with on email for the last 24 hours about it. I didn't know this was coming back up today.
Okay. Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be happy to consult and provide the administrative code to my seatmate.
Without objection, a bill will go by for the day.
I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Right?
We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
We're going back to the sign up now. Delegate Campbell. Okay, Campbell at the top of my.
We already did.
You know what? We did yours this morning. So you're done. Have a good day. Delegate Cherry.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I think I have two before you. First would be House Bill 380.
Please turn your attention to House Bill 380. Delegate Cherry.
380 is the creation of a special license plate that honors the United States Air Force.
Your other bill is in the subcommittee report. So if you would just suspend for a moment,
He can do this.
you can still do this one, but your other bill is in the subcommittee. So don't leave. Okay.
Is that it on this one?
No, he had two bills, but he can only do one.
So 380.
Do that
we're
one.
doing now.
Yes.
633. We're waiting for the subcommittee report.
That's correct.
Bang.
Go
What
ahead.
questions
with
do you have, ma'am?
380.
It just creates a license plate for the United States Air Force. That's what 380 does.
There's a motion and a second that 380 be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15-0.
Ayes 13-0. The bill is reported. Don't go far. Next in queue is Delegate Simon. Did we do that one this morning?
I think I'm going to get a Hodges.
I have a different list here. Let me go to Delegate Hodges.
Yeah. Hodges and Lopez are the only two you need to do.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members of the committee, you have before you House Bill 1058 that allows the Department of Wildlife Resources to develop a singular license for all stationary waterfowl blinds granted to and located on property owned by the Middle Peninsula Chesapeake Bay Public Access Authority of the Northern Neck
Chesapeake Bay Public Access Authority. It allows DWR to establish that fee schedule, makes it much easier to have one piece of paper to apply for possibly 35, 40 duck blinds. All of these duck blinds still have to have, the same license on them and so forth. And DWR establishes that fee schedule, and there's no fiscal impact.
Okay.
Move to report.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill is reported.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I
You're very
believe
welcome.
HB 1187 has already been taken care of.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Delegate Lopez.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of this committee.
Good morning.
I have HB 959. This bill, Madam Chair, is about uniformity across localities in Virginia and local options. As it's also the result of extensive work with advocates and communities to address predatory towing practices over the past several years. It ensures the localities in every part of the Commonwealth have the same ability to address the actions of bad actors. The bill gives communities in Northern Virginia and increasingly Fredericksburg and Stafford, the area, the option of having the same local authority that are normal practices in the rest of the Commonwealth, the option of a second signature process and a process for regulating spotters. It also gives penalties for violations by bad actors and finally ensures the actual victims are compensated. If a locality so chooses, these relatively small changes will allow these areas to achieve what their peers in other regions have, a well-functioning trespass towing system where valid complaints are rare. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'll take any questions you might have.
Well, before we take my mic doesn't want to hear me right now. If we could get council to please share with us the committee substitute.
Madam Chair, the committee substitute would reinstate a towing fuel surcharge fee of $20 that was currently set to expire July 1st of 2024. We are extending it an additional year to July 1, 2025 in the substitute.
That's all right.
I'll move the substitute.
There's a motion and a second that the substitute be agreed to. All of in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye. Move to report the bill.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported with the substitute. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 14, noes 1.
Ayes 14, noes 1. The bill reports with the substitute.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're very welcome. Katie will now give the Public Safety Subcommittee report.
Madam Chair, the first bill that the subcommittee or the Public Safety Subcommittee reviewed this morning was
Please call your attention to
House Bill 454 from Delegate Carlson. This is identical to a bill from Senator Deeds that relates to carrying firearms on college campuses, and the subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
So moved.
It's moved and second that the bill be reported. All in favor? Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill report.
The next bill is House Bill 1195 from Delegate Hayes. This is identical to a bill from Senator Subramanian, which relates to a waiting period for purchasing a firearm, and the subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
So moved.
Moved and second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill is reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 62, Delegate Campbell. This is identical to a bill from Senator Stanley, which passed the Senate unanimously. It allows localities to maintain an animal cruelty registry, and the subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
Motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill is reported.
The next bill is House Bill 18, Delegate Helmer. This is identical to a bill from Senator Reeves, which passed the Senate 36 yes, 0 no. It adds ethnicity to prohibitions and penalties related to discrimination, and the subcommittee recommends reporting 6 yes, 0 no.
Motion and a second that the bill be reported. All in favor, please vote electronically.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is reported.
The next bill is House Bill 861, Delegate Hernandez. This is identical to a bill from Senator Williams Graves that relates to knowingly possessing firearms in certain hospitals, and the subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
Move the report.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill is reported.
The next bill is House Bill 1187 from Delegate Hodges. This is identical to a bill from Senator Pillion that relates to xylazine prohibitions, and the subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
Move the report.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is reported.
The next bill is House Bill 555 from Delegate Hope. This establishes or expands the Office of the Ombudsman at the Office of the State Inspector General. It basically codifies their authority. The subcommittee recommends both adopting a committee substitute that is a combination of a patron substitute that has some technical changes, and then the committee substitute further streamlines the bill. It removes the requirement for periodic inspections, but maintains their ability to inspect facilities as they need to for their duties. It also clarifies some provisions related to statewide reporting systems so they can use their own system, and then it removes the requirement to report staffing in their annual report, but they can still collect staffing information as part of their normal duties. With the committee substitute, the subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
Move the substitute.
There's a motion and a second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor? Say aye. Please open the roll. Thank you.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is reported with substitute.
The next bill is House Bill 1174 from Delegate Sickles. This relates to sale of a handgun or assault firearm to any person under 21 years of age, and it's identical to a bill from Senator Salim, which passed the Senate 21 yes, 19 no. The subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
Move the report.
It's moved and second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill is reported.
The next bill is House Bill 193, Delegate Simon, and this relates to storing firearms in a residence where a minor or other prohibited persons are present. This is identical to Senate Bill 368 from Senator Boysko, and the subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 3 yes, 2 no.
So moved.
And a second, yes. It's been moved and second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill is reported.
The next bill is House Bill 173, Delegate Simon. This is identical to Senate Bill 100 from Senator Eben, which passed the Senate 21 yes, 19 no. It relates to penalties for firearms that aren't detectable by security devices and similar things with frames and receivers. The subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 11, noes 4.
Ayes 11, noes 4, the bill reports.
The next bill is House Bill 1246, Delegate Willis. This is identical to Senate Bill 547 from Senator Bagby, which passed the Senate unanimously. It directs the Department of Criminal Justice Services to establish training standards for communicating with individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities, and the subcommittee recommends reporting 6 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, open the roll.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, noes 0, the bill is reported.
The final identical bill that the subcommittee reviewed is House Bill 36, also from Delegate Willett. This relates to, it establishes a Class 5 felony for any parent, guardian, or other person responsible for a child whose willful act or omission enables the child to possess a firearm. This is identical to a bill that passed the Senate 27 yes, 13 no. The subcommittee recommends reporting 5 yes, 1 no.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 1244, Delegate Cole. This relates to restorative housing and isolated confinement, putting restrictions on its use in Department of Corrections facilities. This is nearly identical to a bill from Senator Bagby that passed the Senate, and the subcommittee recommends reporting 3 yes, 2 no.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill is reported.
The next bill is House Bill 457 from Delegate Carlson. This was amended. This relates to essentially credits that probationers can earn to reduce their sentence. This was amended to a study as it passed the Senate. This was similar to a bill from Senator Favola. There's still some outstanding questions about the fiscal impact of the bill, and given that, the subcommittee recommended conforming the bill to Senate Bill 80 as in gross, which would be a study, and recommended to report that study 6 yes, 0 no.
I'll move the conforming amendments.
There's a motion to move the conforming amendments. There's a motion and a second. All in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Senator Favola.
Madam Chair, I will just say I'm expecting to go into conference on this bill. We're continuing to work with DOC to figure out what the fiscal impact is. It is just a very simple bill that would allow a decrease in a probation period if certain deeds are met, such as acquiring a college education or job training or going for peer recovery specialist training. We're still very confused about why there's such a high fiscal impact, but we'll continue to work on it, and we'll go into conference so we can perhaps get it to a place that both bodies can accept.
There was a motion and a second that the bill be reported with the substitute. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill is reported with the substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 838, Delegate Hope. This is similar to a bill from Senator Sherrill, Senate Bill 504, but a very scaled-down version of that bill as it passed the Senate. This expands eligibility for expungement to individuals who have had their sentences reduced, and also provides a different standard for reviewing expungement. There's some ongoing discussions with state police about whether this bill would delay implementation of existing law. And given that, the subcommittee recommended amending the bill to have a delayed enactment of July 1st, 2026, and then reporting the bill 4 yes, 2 no.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to adopt the amendment. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Move to report.
There's a motion and a second to report the bill with the amendment. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill reports with the amendment.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 22, Delegate Jones. This is similar to a bill from Senator Perry related to auto sears, which are devices that turn firearms into automatic weapons. It incorporates a trigger activator as compared to what was passed by the Senate, but the subcommittee recommends reporting this version of the bill by a vote of 5 yes, 1 no.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill is reported.
The next bill is House Bill 362, Delegate McClure. This is similar to a bill sponsored by Senator Perry that passed the Senate 21 yes, 19 no. It relates to possessing a firearm following assault and battery of an intimate or dating partner. The subcommittee recommends reporting the bill 4 yes, 2 no.
I move to report.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill reports.
The next bill is House Bill 175, Delegate Simon. This relates to assault firearms carrying a public place and is nearly identical to a bill from Senator Eben. The subcommittee recommends reporting 3 yes, 2 no.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill reports.
The next bill is House Bill 633, Delegate Cherry. This relates to penalties for labor trafficking, and the subcommittee recommends reporting 5 yes, 0 no.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. 633.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is reported.
The next bill is House Bill 1405, Delegate Cousins. This relates to providing the DMV providing services for expedited identification cards and similar documents for inmates in prisons and jails. The subcommittee recommends carrying the bill over with a letter to the Compensation Board to survey jails to assess kind of where we are with jails, assess the demand for this service. And the subcommittee recommends carrying the bill over 5 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be carried over. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill will be carried over.
The next bill is House Bill 1268 from Delegate Delaney. It relates to allowing probation officers to do evaluations for probationers who might be eligible for the Community Corrections Alternative Program. The subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. All in favor, please vote electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0, the bill is reported.
The next bill is House Bill 250, Delegate Glass. This relates to the Department of Criminal Justice Services establishing model policies for law enforcement interrogation practices. The subcommittee recommends reporting 4 yes, 2 no.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Please vote electronically.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill reports.
The next bill is House Bill 466, Delegate Helmer, related to concealed handgun permits. It essentially changes the reciprocity standards that we have so that if you're prohibited in the Commonwealth from possessing a firearm, you would no longer be eligible for a concealed handgun permit reciprocity agreement from another state. The subcommittee recommends reporting the bill by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, no 5, the bill reports.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 73, Delegate Hope. It relates to the automatic expungement and petition-based expungement, depending on the offense, for civil actions for eviction or unlawful detainers. And the subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. All in favor, please vote electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
House Bill 172, Delegate Hope, adds an individual who's a legal custodian of a juvenile to the definition of a family or household member as it relates to juvenile and domestic relations courts. The subcommittee recommends reporting 6 yes, 0 no.
Motion and second that the bill be reported. Please vote electronically.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
The next bill is House Bill 797 from Delegate Hope. This relates to demonstrating a competence for a concealed handgun permit. It changes some of the references so that instead of certain organizations approving the courses, it would have to be certified by the Department of Criminal Justice Services. The subcommittee recommends amending the bill for a delayed enactment of January 1st, 2025 to address some of the fiscal impact. And then with that amendment, recommends reporting 4 yes, 2 no.
There's a motion and a second to agree with the amendment. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Move to report.
Second. There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported as amended. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill reports with the amendment.
The next bill is House Bill 798, Delegate Hope. This relates to possessing a firearm following an assault and battery conviction for a stalking violation. The subcommittee recommends reporting the bill 4 yes, 2 no.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill reports.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 799 from Delegate Hope. This relates to fingerprint criminal records checks for applicants of an issuance or renewal of a concealed handgun permit. The committee recommends adopting an amendment that would require that the applicants pay a fee to cover any of the administrative costs from Virginia State Police. And with that amendment, recommends reporting the bill 4 yes, 2 no.
Motion
Or
and amendment?
substitute, sorry.
There's a motion and a second that the amendment be agreed to. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Move to report.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported with the substitute. With the amendment. It is a substitute. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill reports with the substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 893 from Delegate McCloy. This relates to rates that are paid to court-appointed counsel for child dependency cases, including termination of parental rights. The subcommittee recommends an amendment that would take the rates in these cases down to what we adopted in the Senate for the criminal cases. So it would be $240 for all child dependency cases, and then $445 for termination of parental rights to align with what we did on Delegate Reeser's bill on criminal court-appointed. With that amendment, the subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
There's a motion and a second that the amendment be agreed to. All in favor say aye. Aye. Now motion.
Move to adopt as, move to report as amended.
Second. There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported with the amendment. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, noes 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill reports with the amendment.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 611 by Delegate Price. This relates to civilian deaths in custody. It would require the Department of Criminal Justice Services to collect and analyze data on the deaths of both inmates and also individuals under law enforcement custody. The subcommittee discussed that there is some overlap with the review of jail deaths for inmates. And so the subcommittee had recommended applying this bill only to individuals who are in the custody of law enforcement officers. But yeah,
Thank you. Madam Chair, I do not wish to trespass on your time, but I did want to discuss the amendment. The Federal Deaths in Custody Reporting Act was reauthorized in 2013, but has not been actually implemented by DOJ. And so right now, you have two different code sections that kind of cover what deaths have to be reported under which circumstances. What House Bill 611 seeks to do is from the moment someone is detained all the way through to the end of their incarceration, that all deaths in any facility or with any law enforcement would have to be reported. By amending it to only be with the law enforcement, you don't take the financial the cost for one FTE from DCJS down, but you do undermine a lot of what the bill is trying to do. Right now, what is reported on deaths that are happening within some of the facilities, journalists aren't even able to get information on behalf of the families, much less full pictures of what can be reported. And so House Bill 611 basically says what the information would need to be. I have the November 2023 report that came out from the Board of Local and Regional Jails, and it basically says how many happened and where it happened. There's no other information. And so as lawmakers, as families of those that have died within custody, I would just ask that the amendment not be made to undermine the bill.
Committee.
Madam Chair, the committee
Senator Locke has a question.
What does the amendment do?
So essentially, the bills that came over would have DCJS, as Delegate Price stated, reviewing deaths of correctional facilities and law enforcement agencies. Basically, the amendment that the subcommittee adopted or recommended in concept would just be to narrow it to individuals in law enforcement custody, since Board of Local and Regional Jails does review deaths. So just so there wouldn't be that duplication of effort. I hear Delegate Price, maybe there's clarification that might need to be made in the Board of Local and Regional Jails, or you could do it here, whatever you all's pleasure. But that was what the bill had. It came over, and it would be reviewing all deaths in correctional facilities and law enforcement custody. And this amendment, if adopted, would just have it be for law enforcement custody, those in law enforcement custody.
Senator Locke. Senator Boysko.
Thank you. Madam Chair, a question for Katie. So the question, Madam Chair, is if we were to move the bill as it currently exists without the amendment, wouldn't we just be doing, we would be authorizing through the bill the same thing that we're doing, so it wouldn't be in conflict or duplicating, but would be just reaffirming that we have a priority of understanding exactly what the circumstances were when someone who is incarcerated.
My understanding of the bill, and Delegate Price can jump in, is that this has DCJS doing the reviews, and currently the Board of Local Regional Jails is doing them for the jails. Again, a different process, but the same reviews. So it's different entities doing it at the state level.
Madam Chair, and again, not to belabor the point, House Bill 611 actually outlines the exact information that we would need: the name, gender, race, ethnicity, age, date, time, location, and actually the circumstances of the death. That is not currently outlined in law on what is needed for all deaths in any facility.
Madam Chair, would we be able to just make certain that that information is included? Perhaps we just make a different amendment so that...
Hold a second while
I believe Senator Boysko is suggesting that we have the same language, but we place it under the Board of Local and Regional Jails, so it's the same entity that's doing it, but they're having the more specified level of detail. Madam Chair, I believe that's the suggestion from Senator Boysko.
Madam Chair, that was my intent.
Senator Boysko and then Senator McDougal.
Madam Chair, that was my intent, that we
Thank
make
you.
certain that her language is included.
Well, I think Senator Locke said the same thing, but right now I want to go to Senator McDougal.
Madam Chairman, should we take this by for the day like we're doing the other one, just to make sure staff has this in the posture that
The patrons go
so
with
we
that.
all know that what we're really talking about?
Without objection, the bill will go by for the day. Katie?
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 803 from Delegate Rasool. This relates to expungement of court records for juveniles. The subcommittee heard a patron substitute that essentially lists a number of offenses related to acts of violence and those that are registerable on the sex offense list that would be retained instead of being expunged at age 29. The subcommittee recommends adopting the patron substitute and reporting the bill as amended by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
Move the substitute.
There's a motion and a second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, please say aye. Noes have the same right.
Now move to report the bill.
There's a motion to report and a second with the substitute. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill reports with the substitute.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 45, Delegate Seabold. This relates to earned sentence credits and allows inmates in jails to earn their earned sentence credits on time served in both jails, state mental hospitals, and other placements before you go to a state correctional facility. The subcommittee recommended removing an enactment clause that was added in Rehab and Social Services that would have made the bill retroactive, and it recommended instead providing an enactment clause for a delayed enactment of January 1st, 2025. And with that amendment, the subcommittee recommended reporting the bill 4 yes, 2 no.
Madam Chair.
Senator Serval.
So, speaking of the bill, when I was in the Rehab Committee, I made the motion to go retroactive because that's what we did when we adopted the Earned Sentence Credit Program. I'm not clear why we're going the exact opposite direction. What was the reason for that?
Madam Chair, Senator Serval, the discussion subcommittee was that because that was added so recently, we don't have any information from Department of Corrections as to the fiscal impact.
Madam Chair,
Senator Serval.
well, last time we did it, the fiscal impact was positive. It actually saved taxpayers money. I'm not really clear why we would be worried about saving more money.
Madam Chair, Senator Serval, I believe you're referring to legislation adopted in 2020.
Right.
While I think there's kind of two components. They're absolutely savings because inmates are spending less time in prison. We did also have to provide $1.2 million for chorus changes for them to change their system, and they needed, I think at the time, it was over a year to get that together. And then we also provided increased reentry staff and IT staff to handle those system changes. So I think there was kind of two pieces of the component of the fiscal impact when it was done retroactively a few years ago: reductions with inmates leaving sooner, but then some staffing and IT costs that were adopted by that General Assembly.
There's a motion on the floor.
It did.
And to be clear, on this bill, we don't know. We have not heard from DOC. I was speaking to the 2020 legislation, but on this bill, we just don't have any information on the retroactive piece of it at this time.
I do want to report this bill. And it says the agency may absorb it. I don't see how really this would necessarily add to the cost, but I do respect staff saying that they had to implement different monitoring systems and record keeping, et cetera, et cetera. I wonder if that's one-time money, and that's my question.
Madam Chair, Senator Favola, again, I don't have any information on the fiscal impact of this bill. I will say that the 2020 legislation, the staff were ongoing, but the IT system was certainly one time.
Okay, well, Madam Chair, I'm going to move that we report the bill.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill be reported. I beg your pardon? Did we adopt the amendment? Okay, move the amendment first.
Move the substitute.
There's a motion and a second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor, please say aye. Now motion on the bill? No. What?
They don't want the sub.
Is the sub gone?
What is the sub? Do you need to do a recorded film? It's unclear. I think it's unclear whether you adopted the substitute.
I think it's unclear whether or not we adopted the substitute.
Madam Chair, do you want to take this by?
No, I just need a motion on the substitute.
What is the substitute? The substitute was to make it
delayed enactment instead of retroactive.
Yeah.
Do you want us to pass it by?
No, I don't think we have enough clarity on this. Let's pass it by for the day.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 916. This relates to substantial risk order reporting system. It establishes an SRO reporting system for the purpose of tracking and reporting such orders by locality, and the subcommittee recommends reporting 6 yes, 0 no.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill is reported.
The next bill is House Bill 637, Delegate Sullivan. This relates to a substantial risk order training program. It requires DCJS to establish a training program for the purposes of training law enforcement agencies and other public institutions on the proper use and implementation of the Commonwealth's substantial risk order law. The subcommittee recommends reporting by a vote of 4 yes, 2 no.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10, noes 5.
Ayes 10, noes 5. The bill reports.
The next bill is House Bill 640, Delegate Sullivan. This changes the formula for wrongful incarceration compensation. It's similar to a bill from Senator Lucas in the 2022 session that passed the Senate, 22 yes, 17 no. Make several changes. It would expand award eligibility to decedents and individuals regardless of plea, increase award amounts of eligible individuals on the sex offender registry, and reduce restrictions to awards to individuals who have previously received damages. It also has a provision that allows the General Assembly, subject to appropriation, to provide non-monetary assistance like education and health counseling. And the subcommittee recommends reporting the bill 6 yes, 0 no.
So moved.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. That's House Bill 640. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill is reported.
Madam Chair, the next bill is House Bill 641. This would provide relief for David King Rea for time that was spent on the sex offender registry after he was wrongfully incarcerated. It would provide, or the fiscal impact is $431,000 in a one-time payment, and it's based on the formula in the bill that you just adopted. And the subcommittee recommends reporting 6 yes, 0 no.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill is reported.
Madam Chair, the final bill from the Public Safety Subcommittee report was House Bill 102 from Delegate Reeser. This it is nearly identical to a bill from Senate Bill 356 from Senator Perry. And essentially, the committee recommends a substitute that just makes clarifying amendments so that aligns with the amount provided in the Senate budget. It aligns the rate for district court and circuit court clerks cases for misdemeanors and makes some clarifying changes around waivers. And the subcommittee recommends reporting the substitute by a vote of 6 yes, 0 no.
Could I get a motion on the substitute? There's a motion and a second that the substitute be agreed to. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Move to report the bill.
There's a motion and a second that the bill be reported with the substitute. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0. The bill reports with the substitute.
Madam Chairman,
Senator McDougal.
having voted on the prevailing side whereby we passed House Bill 916, I move we reconsider that.
There's a motion for reconsideration.
House Bill 916.
For,
For 916. This is Delegate Causon's
For
bill related to
916?
Delegate, yes.
okay,
Related
that's
to
going to require an electronic vote. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Now move to report the
Ayes 15, no 0.
Ayes 15, no 0 on the reconsideration. Senator Dees just moved that the bill be reported. And a second. Madam Clerk, please open the roll.
Ayes 10,
You're
noes
welcome.
5.
You're welcome. Ayes 10, noes 5, the bill reports. Docket, there being no further business, this committee shall rise.
The Senate of Virginia, Richmond, Virginia.